Hey everybody, welcome back to the channel. This is Victor again with my Ioniq 5. Today's video will be about the current seat condition after 3 months, how do they look, and how have I been keeping them clean. So for the Ioniq 5 with the Leatherette seats, we only get two color options, meaning black or gray, and the gray is more of a white color. Personally, I preferred the look of the white colored seats, but at the same time, I also haven't had a great experience previously owning a light-colored Napa leather interior in another car. So honestly, I was kind of on the fence. So if you're on the fence about what interior color to go with based on longevity, then this video is for you. Now, spoiler alert, I think the seat material is excellent and should allow you to pick either interior color without really needing to worry about durability issues. I've only had these seats for 3 months, but I'm going to try to prove that statement based on my usage as well as past vehicle ownership. So first off, as you know, I love to give context, so let's talk about seat usage. I typically spend 2 to 3 hours per day in the car. I do a lot of in and outs. An average office commuter probably drives to work and then drives home, which would total 2 in and outs. My workday involves dropping off my son in the morning, then getting back in the car and then driving to my first job site. I get out, then I get back in and drive to the next job site, and then I repeat this 3 to 4 times a day, and then I pick up my son before going home. So I do about 6 to 7 in and outs per day, Monday through Friday. Then you add in YouTube filming that I've been doing, plus whatever we're doing on the weekends, and I'm somewhere around 500 in and outs over the past 3 months, which would be close to 1 year's worth of in and outs for that average office commuter. Next up is another context item, which is the state of my cleanliness when getting in and out of my car. I'm not exactly in construction, as I'm not quite hands-on like that, but I am part of a structural engineering firm. We do inspections and design work all over Philadelphia. Sometimes we are inspecting new construction footings and dirt and mud. That means I'm getting dirt and mud on my boots and sometimes pants. Other times we're inspecting framing at active job sites where crews are actively cutting or installing material. And if you've ever been anywhere that's under construction, just walking in and walking out of that construction zone means you come out covered in a layer of dust or construction particles. And I typically use my phone to take pictures and notes, and by the time I leave the job site, my phone is covered in this hazy layer of dust particles, which means it's all over my clothes too. Now we also do inspections on fixer-uppers, full gut renovations, abandoned or dilapidated homes and buildings being demolished, fire or water damaged homes, you name it. And a very common theme is that we typically have to inspect the basements in most of these homes. So I've been in flooded basements, debris-filled basements, basements with animal carcasses and remains, or basements that haven't had visitors in many years. So dirty cobwebs are guaranteed, and I'm definitely not coming out as clean as I went in, and that's for sure. So that's the context of what I put my driver's seat through typically. So close to 1 year's worth of in and outs if I were the average office commuter, plus bringing in all sorts of dirt, cobweb, and construction materials and particles and getting them all over my seat. So how have they held up? Well, let's take a look. Currently, to my eye, they look pristine. No wear marks to speak of. My interior color has the red piping, and this actually should be absorbing most of the contact of getting in and out. It feels plasticky, but not in a bad way. It feels durable. It's not a woven fabric, so it's not going to fray, and it's a darker colored plastic, so it shouldn't get color stained. Then there's the actual leatherette, which is not real leather, and again feels a little plasticky, but not in a bad way. It feels like a very thick layer of material with a very smooth and resistive finish. I've referred to these seats now twice as plasticky, but I just want to reinforce that I don't mean that in a bad way. In fact, I'm very happy with the seat material. It doesn't feel cheap at all, but it still manages to give off this very durable feel. It's by far the best non-animal leather that I've come across. So what gives me that confidence to say that the Ioniq 5 seats feel like they're going to last a long time? Well, before buying the Ioniq 5 new in February, I had always bought used cars, anywhere from 3 to 4-year-old cars to even 10-year-old cars. So I've had suede, Alcantara, I've had Leatherette, leather, and Napa leather over the course of about 15 cars. So I've seen a lot of older seats, and without fail, the same spots show more wear and tear than other parts on the driver's seat. The driver's seat is always in the worst shape because it gets more usage. So based on the 15 cars or so that I've owned, the outer edge of the base cushion, the exposed side of the seat base cushion, and the outer edge of the side bolster are the most vulnerable and I would consider high wear areas. It makes sense. The outer edge of the base cushion and side bolsters are being rubbed against each time you get in and out. And then the exposed side of the base cushion is experiencing compression from the driver sitting in the seat. Plus, all three of these sections are exposed to a little bit more of the rain and sun just from the driver getting in and out, versus the other seats that are typically unoccupied, so those doors don't get open as much. So really quickly, what is Napa leather? And I had to do a little bit of research because I didn't really know. But it appears to be unaltered, full-grain leather. So if it doesn't say Napa leather, then that means it's probably been corrected, altered, or even sanded in some way. Not necessarily a bad thing, as non-Napa leather has a smoother feel. It really depends on personal preference, though in the car industry, Napa leather is typically the most expensive option for buyers. So that means that Napa leather is the most likely of the bunch to absorb dirt particles or absorb dye from jeans. And I've had a light color Napa leather on my 2008 Audi S6, which should have had a very similar color to the Ioniq 5's gray interior, but it felt like those seats were just constantly absorbing dirt because the color just kept getting darker and darker. Got to the point that I put a towel over my seat to protect them and keep them clean for me. Then my next Napa leather car is actually the current 2016 Volvo XC90 that we have. And originally we were trying to buy a light brown saddle colored interior, which I believe they call amber. And I saw one back in 2016 at an auto show and I loved it. So when it was time to try to buy a used one, I tried to find one that matched that spec. It was a 2016 model. This is in 2019. So we were looking for a 3 to 4-year-old car. And the specific car that I found, the amber colored Napa leather seats looked like they were probably twice that age. There was obvious blue jean dye transfer on the driver's seat, and it just looked so worn and beat up. We still took it for a test drive, and I still felt that the seat was amazing, but it just looked horrible. So we ended up passing on that one, and I found our current XC90 with the black interior, which just looked so much better. So my experience with light colored Napa leather is that it is a dirt and dye magnet. So in summary, for seat wear and seat condition, my Ioniq 5's white colored seats currently show zero wear at about a year's worth of in and outs if I were the office type commuter. I will say I don't think I'm the best test subject for the outer side of the base cushion, since I'm on the lighter side. Me sitting in the driver's seat is not going to cause that much compression there anyways, so that'll be something for you guys to keep an eye on yourselves. So what about keeping these seats clean? Well, if you have young kids, toddlers, or babies at home, then you're going to have wet wipes just on hand all the time. And I keep them in my car at all times. That's my go-to. If there's any kind of mess or a dirty spot, I hit it with the wet wipe first, and sometimes that's all it needs. And then about once a week, I'll wipe down my driver's seat, the steering wheel, and pretty much anything my hands come in contact with disinfectant wipes. And then I'll do that to the rest of the interior about once every 2 to 3 weeks. That's probably not recommended for real animal leather products, but since we don't have that in our cars and most of our car is some form of plastic, I'm really not that worried. I probably should be applying leather cleaner and protector still to moisturize the leatherette to prevent cracking. I haven't done that yet since purchasing, so it's probably about time to do that. My main focus has just been keeping the car sanitized, so we'll see how things look down the road, but so far so good. And I should be able to track changes or deteriorations to the driver's seat pretty easily just because my front passenger seat goes mostly unused on most days. So that's kind of it for seat upkeep. I'll come back with an update probably around the 6 month mark of ownership, as at that point I'll be close to about 2 years of in and outs if I were the average office commuter. So I feel like that would be a good time to give an update then. So anyways, let me know if you have any questions or have any thoughts or recommendations on maintaining Leatherette. Thanks for watching. See you guys on the next one.